Never a dull day at Blues. Pep Clotet has been sacked, and yet again, Blues are finding themselves looking for another manager. It seems to be a constant cycle of managers happening at the minute, and we never used to be a club that did this. We used to be a club that had a manager for a number of years, but in recent years, it's been chopping and changing and chopping and changing. Now, I'm not a fan of it, but was I always 100% confident in Pep? No, I think he was a good bloke. I think he has some good tactics. He did well with the resources that he had at Blues, but for me, it just seemed like a mutual thing. It seemed like Pep felt like he'd done what he needed to do. He wants to move on to something else. Maybe he wants to move to another country. Maybe he wants to go back to Spain. We don't know the ins and outs of it, but it feels like the board also are looking for a different manager. Someone with experience and a track record of getting teams promoted from the Championship, it seems. That seems to be their #1 priority. Whether we're able to bring that sort of manager in begs to be seen. I'm going to be talking about some of the factors around this, some of the managers we've been linked with, comparing them to last year when Monk got sacked, just to show you that the bookies aren't always right. Before we get into it, I just want to remind you that Fan Moan will be kicking off on Saturday, the very first edition of this new series. I can't wait to get it started. It's going to be over on Twitch, and then the highlights are going to be on YouTube. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be watching the Blues match on your telly, on your laptop, on whatever, and then alongside on your phone, on your other laptop, on your iPad, whatever you want, you can have us live on Twitch. I'll be there reacting to the match alongside an opposition fan. It's going to be tasty. I can't wait to get started with it. So if you do want to get involved with that and watch it live, make sure you follow us on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/BrummieJoeHD. I'll see you there on Saturday. Also, we've been named as a finalist for the Football Content Awards in November. Really excited about this one, and I hope I can bring it home for the Blues. If you would like to vote, the instructions will be down in the description below. You can do it on Twitter, Instagram, and on their website, which I'll put the link to as well. So I would appreciate any votes for that. So yesterday, I was on Time Hop, and I came across the next permanent Birmingham City manager odds when Gary Monk got sacked. Obviously, we know it was Pep Clotet. And he, strangely enough, wasn't anywhere near this. So we had Steve McLaren, Danny Cowley, Gus Poyet, Lee Bowyer, Nigel Adkins, Aita Karanka, Daniel Stendel, Slasiva Jokanovic, and Carlos Carvajal. They were the managers that we thought we were going to get. Obviously, we didn't end up with that. It shows you that the odds and the bookies don't always know. But we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at the options, what some people are saying, and what Blues are after. Now, as I've been editing this, Nigel Clough has appeared as the firm new favourite to be the Birmingham City manager. He's held talks with Birmingham, and it seems like this could be something that will actually happen. For me, it's whether it's just talks in case we can't get other options. Maybe he's just an option. Don't know if he's our #1 target, but because of these talks coming out, they're coming out in the press, obviously the odds have flown up for him because people are putting bets on him to be the manager. I've put out a poll on Twitter, and as you can see, I wanted to get people's reactions. 34% said it showed a lack of ambition but was okay. 43% said it was a bad appointment. 17% unsure, and only 6% thought that it would be a good appointment. I think that says a lot. The message that I'm getting from a lot of people is that it just confirms, especially the fact that people are happy with it, it confirms that we're always going to be in this place where we're happy to accept mediocrity. He's had experience in the Championship. He's taken Burton up from League One to the Championship, so I guess, you know, sort of ticks the box of having experience of promotion, but it's not exactly setting the world alight. Is this what we should be expecting, or should we try to do better? Should we put our money where our mouth is and go all out for a good manager that can really inspire players to be drawn to us and get the fans on board? Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as a Zola Cottrell appointment. It's just I'm very unsure of it, and I feel like it's going to be quite divided. As always with Birmingham, a lot of people will back the manager. They'll back the manager until they feel like there's a reason not to. And that's the sort of way we are. It's a good point. Are we just accepting mediocrity by going for this manager? Or could he be, you know, with the right team, with the right budget? Because he has been working on a shoestring in his previous roles. Could this be an opportunity for him to show what he can do? And should we give him that opportunity? Or should we try and go for someone like Lee Bowyer? And you look at Lee Bowyer as well. He's done wonders with Charlton, sure. He's up and coming, but there's nothing proven there. And I'm seeing a lot of people say as well with him, he needs a little bit more time. Again, it would be a risk with him. It would be. There's more expectation here. I don't think Jokanovic is a realistic option for us. Hughton potentially, but it's whether. And I feel like if, we'll put an offer on the table to Hughton, I think. It's just whether he'll accept that. If we did get Clough, it's the question of, is he just going to let the board do what they want and not be too bothered about it? Used to working on a shoestring. I'm not too sure about the transfer policy at his previous clubs, but it's difficult. It's really difficult, but I want you to let me know what you think. Who would be your ideal candidate for the Birmingham City manager? Realistically, go for it. Give me two options. Go for someone who you would love us to have, and then someone who you think realistically, out of the options we've got, who would you rather have? So let's say out of Hughton, Warnock, Clough and Bowyer. It's going to be very interesting, and when a manager is announced, I'm going to dive a bit deeper into that manager, into their stats, into their style of play, into what they're used to doing with another video. So before making this video, I tried to look around as much as I could with people that, in all fairness, know a lot more than me. Brian Dick of Birmingham Live being an example. He did a live QA on the Birmingham Mail. Obviously, no one really knows who is going to be the next manager, but we're starting to get an idea of the type of manager that Blues want to go for. Even sources like Alan Nixon as well are saying that Blues are after someone with experience. Alan Nixon put a tweet out today saying Jokanovic the ideal choice but very expensive. Hughton is also in the frame but not cheap either, and looking around for other openings. So it's clear to see we're after someone with experience of taking a team up. Jokanovic would be the perfect signing for us. The only problem is he's got quite a lucrative contract, which will be hard to buy him out of. And I think it was Brian Dick on Birmingham Live as well said he would be the highest paid Birmingham City manager. So it's not looking like it could be him. As much as we want it to be him, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we need to go for someone that will instill faith within the fans that something can happen, that there's a project here, something long term. Which will almost give the fans patience. It could be a 2-3 year plan to get us in a better position. But we want something more long term. Like I know I've heard suggestions of Neil Warnock as well. I'm not sure on him. I think he's a very Blues style manager. But he's spoken about retirement and this and that, and I just don't know how much he'd want it. I think we need someone who's up and coming or already has experience of taking teams up. The problem with that being is pricing. Chris Hughton has always seemed to be holding out for that Premier League job to come back for him. I don't know if he wants another go at the Championship, but he's spoken to reporters and he hasn't ruled it out. He's just been quite coy on it. I think he's just playing along. Maybe he wants to, maybe he wants to see how much money we're offering. Maybe he wants to see, what the stance would be on transfers. It's a different ownership now, but ultimately still a difficult one. That brings me to my other point as well. Whoever we bring in, and this could play a big part on who we do bring in, it can't just be about the manager. There has to be some kind of flexibility from the board to let the manager do what they want to do. Is it going to continue to just be this head coach role where they don't have a lot of say in transfers? If you're an experienced manager, a respected manager that has a track record, you should appreciate and you should feel worthy of a little bit of trust from the board. And I think that's what they need. There's so much control you can have, but you have to look at it. You need people who know football. You need, these people, if you want to bring in someone experienced, you want to spend a lot of money on a manager, then you have to allow them that freedom. Imagine we bring in Jokanovic, but we don't let him bring in the players that he wants to bring in. We say, no, you know what, we think this would be better. That's not what he's used to. That's not what he needs. You've got to look at it as well. It doesn't look good on a manager to have a poor performance under a club on their CV. So it's very important that they can have a say in what they do. Transfers play a huge part. Now, Pep Clotet has done a really good job with Birmingham City. He's taken us to a place where, we're fairly stable in the Championship. Now, if you look back a few years, we haven't really been. We've been a team that's often had to finish on the final day, luckily staying up every time. And it's been a rocky road since we got relegated, really. But now I feel like we're starting to get some stability back in, and some of the transfers that we're making give me hope. We've shown that we can do well in the transfer market without spending a lot of money, with the likes of Bella, Crowley, Pedersen, even Sunjic, because I'm pretty sure we'll make a profit on him anyway. That's the thing. Going for players that have a sell-on value makes you a sustainable club. When you look at going all the way back to 17-18, I don't know how much control Harry Redknapp had over the transfers. There are rumours that he wanted to bring in certain players and the board found alternatives. Maybe some of them were his. So whether that was his problem, he signed the wrong players and the board decided we can't do this anymore, we can't trust these managers, then you can understand that. But again, it's part and parcel. You have to, you know, Harry Redknapp, you could argue, has a reputation for spending a lot of money, trying to do things really quickly. And he probably sold them the dream. You know, we're going to sign this, we're going to get promoted right now. That's not how you do it. We want to go with the Brentford model. Brentford are really, they're inspiring as a club in the way that they do their business, because you can just tell that eventually they're going to get promoted. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because they are constantly bringing good players through the club, constantly bringing in money, getting a new stadium. They're a business. They're doing well. They're playing good football. And they just seem to keep signing quality players and selling them for a lot more. Now, obviously, I don't want Blues to be a selling club, but it's about being sustainable. We've got a core group of players now. You know, albeit it's a very thin squad, but we have quality players that other teams in this league would be envious of. There's a lot of players here that we can think, okay, we can build a project here. We can make a few shrewd signings that fit in, and we can actually become quite a good footballing team, a top half team, a top 10 team, you never know. But that's what we need to do, and that's going to be the attractive prospect for a manager coming in. He's not dealing with a team that's down and out, that needs to be completely turned around. It's just improvements are needed. Pep's taken us so far, and then a new manager can come in and take us even further. So this decision for Birmingham is massive. I think the important thing is that Blues don't rush this decision, because it is a very important one. When Pep Clotet was first appointed, I felt a bit like it just didn't feel like a proper manager, you know? Like, as harsh as that sounds, he's an up-and-coming manager, and he's done a good job. He's got a good tactical knowledge. But I want someone with experience. I want someone with the track record to carry on from the good work that Pep started. So I think they just have to take their time with this appointment. They could easily get someone in a matter of days, but they've got time now to actually take their time, wait for the rest of the season, say, look, this is what we've got to offer. You've got a stable championship club with a number of good players. Do you want to work on something positive? You know, it's all well and good being linked with quality managers, but if the board don't change their approach to the way that they work with them, then none of them are going to want to sign for us. You know, money aside, a manager wants a project, and it's their reputation that's on the line as well. You have to remember that. So a lot of this is down to them. I think the main thing for me is that we have to think about sustainability and think more long term. We've been thinking very short term in the past. They've wanted something that will immediately, we'll get promoted next season. But you have to plan long term, because otherwise, if you keep planning short term, it's going to take longer than the long plan. We wanted it with Redknapp. We're like, yes, please. Let's get promoted next year. We're going to invest all this money into 14 players, 2 of which are still at Birmingham City players right now. If we'd have thought more long term then, you know, 2017, thought, okay, you know what, we're going to spend our money wisely. We're not going to get FFP. We're not going to get in trouble with FFP. We're not going to spend a stupid amount of money on big name players on stupid wages. Now we're going to think more long term. We're going to bring in young players to develop that we can sell on, to bring in other players, and then we're going to be a sustainable club. We could be a top half team right now, top 10 team, 2023 years, you know. But if we keep getting in this loop of just thinking short term, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to keep staying in this cycle. It's been really frustrating to watch. For, you know, I'm sure you understand being a Blues fan. Really frustrating to watch Blues just go in this complete cycle, and we need to stop it. And this is a turning point to do that. So I don't know where I was going with this video. I just wanted to get the thoughts off my chest. I hadn't scripted it. I just vented for ages. But I think the take-home message here is that there needs to be some flexibility from the board to allow the manager to fulfill their vision, because they're not going to be able to otherwise. It's as simple as that. Will they make the right decision? We're going to have to wait and see. But that'll be it from me. The football is back next week. I can't wait for it. Guys, if you haven't already as well, make sure you vote for me in the Football Content Awards. I'm in the finals. Really excited about that. They're going to be in November. The voting closes soon, so I'll put the links down in the description for that. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell. And I will be back very soon. See you later, and keep right on.